I am live. Alafia, welcome to the Ask Yeyefini Show. You, if this is your first time, you're in for a treat. For those of you who have been supporting me over the years, I think I've been doing live Ask Yeyefini Show for over, must be 13 years now. So thank you for joining us today. In honor of Ogun, of men. This is the first time in all of these years that I've ever had a show with all men. Last month we celebrated Oshun, which is the mother, the female, the energy of creativity and love and femininity. And today we're giving honor to the men, to those men that have been in my life, inspirational, encouraging, have been supporting, have opened many roads for me for sometime the first time. And so experiences for the first time. And so today I want to share with you Ogun and the power of men. I am so grateful because without men, there would not be babies. And so that's the first part that we want to give thanks for, is that y'all provide the seed that we just hold and prepare and let you in and create this beautiful thing called humanity. So thank you so much. This is my Father's Day, Man Day celebration. So welcome, my beautiful, wonderful men are here. Ogun. Ogun is the energy of the fire that is required to have the courage and the diligence to show up, to carve out, to protect, to ensure, and to provide for women, children, and themselves. And so today in Ogun, we have entrepreneur, we have a medical doctor, we have an engineer. All of you represent the different aspects of Ogun. Ogun, that in the beginning of time was the energy that when the world was plain and without any kind of foliage, Ogun came with his machete and cut down and cleared the land that was necessary for us to build and to create humanity as we know it. And then, of course, Obatala then came with the shell and the land and the other things that the story goes. And then we had creation. But Ogun is the energy that we have to give thanks for, because Ogun is the energy that when we are starting out every day, Ogun is the energy, the gravity, the iron that is the middle of the earth that keeps us balanced and strong. Ogun is the energy that every day when we wake up, we get in our cars, we open our water faucets, all of that. That is energy. Ogun governs metal. His number is 3. He's and the month of April in the International Institute of African Studies, which I'm the director at COM, which I'm the president. We have every month we give honor to a different aspect of African spirituality. And so last month we had Oshun. Everybody was sensual and happy and creative. Today we are creating through the energy of Ogun and just giving Ogun much thanks and much appreciation, because the month of April is when we celebrate Ogun, because he is the aspect of the planet Mars and the astrological sign of Aries. So during this time, shout out to all of the Aryan people out there, the Aries people. Y'all are the ones that are cardinal signs. So Ogun is the kind of energy that the children or the people who have Ogun as their dominant force, those are the people you want to call when you want to get something done, when you want to start out. They're the ones that come and start it, and then the other energies support it. So Ogun is one of those energies that when he comes in, is brute force. It's about, okay, I'm here, I'm showing up. What do you need me to do? And so Ogun, being that force and that energy, is so dominant in the male. It's there in the female as well, but it's dominant in the male because that's the testosterone that keeps the fire that's going. Ogun keeps the blood and keeps everything flowing together. He's the energy of the heart. That Oshun works with him with the blood that goes through the system, and then it creates this beautiful thing called life. So thank you so much, my beautiful, beautiful men. Dr. Randall Maxie, I've known you for many, many years, is a friend of mine and a beautiful. I'm going to read your beautiful, read the entire bio because we'd be here until tomorrow. So, so we're going to give a brief intro as we come in. Welcome to the show. We want to welcome also Shongo Nika Roach, who was one of the people that gave me my first step in life as a mother. Happened to be my son. You know, I like to have it because he's a beautiful representation of what these three men represent. And of course, Baba Kwaku, beautiful, beautiful person I've known for many, many years. Y'all a representation of what a husband is, what a father, what a son is, what a husband is, what an uncle is, what a brother. Y'all are all of that. And in my opinion, when I started looking for men, y'all's name, it just popped in my head and just like, okay, these are the people I want to represent Ogun. Ogun, the energy of entrepreneurship, of people who want to start out their own business. You call upon Ogun. All of you are businessmen because you said, hey, I am not only going to work for someone, I'm going to create jobs for others. And all of y'all have done that over the years. Y'all are fathers, excellent fathers. I happen to know all of your children. That's kind of dating myself. Because when Dr. Maxie was asking Randy to help him with the thing, I've known Randy since he was a little bitty boy. So I've known all of y'all as fathers. I know y'all as husbands. I know all of your wives. I know your sisters, your brothers, your children. So it's with trust and just, I don't want to tear up here, but trust, pride, and joy, you know, and just gratitude and humility that y'all were able to be on the show today. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. So we're going to have some fun today. And if you have any questions and that, just pop them in the chat. And we have our producer. We give thanks to her every month. We're here. She's in the background producing, Dr. Fungayo. Give thanks for her energy that's always been supportive. And so thank you so much. So welcome, gentlemen, to the show. Thank you, my men, my Ogun force that I was like, oh, I got these powerful men up in the room. I'm so happy. I was just giving y'all a hug. That's a virtual hug. So we're going to welcome first Dr. Maxie, who is, like I said, a friend, just always been supportive of the work and the things that I've done over the years. I'm just so grateful for the work that you've done, Dr. Maxie. So let me introduce you and read your little bio, a little of the bio. I'm trying to bring it up here so much. Dr. Randall Maxie, PhD, is an experienced physician specializing in internal medicine, nephrology, and cardiovascular pharmacology, offering 40 plus years of clinical practice and clinical and bench research in developing health services for populations of color, included in the continental U.S. territories, and the continent of Africa. He's a past president of the chairman of the board of the National Medical Association, the NMA, and the former CEO of the Black Health Trust, which provides credible health information regarding health disparities in COVID-19, provided by a panel of nationally recognized physician experts in over 20 years specialties, which has reached over 10,000 viewers. He has extensive experience with developing and growing medical and healthcare membership organizations, including the National Medical Association Commission to Eliminate Health Disparities, which has over 54 national organizations. Dr. Maxie has made contributions to research regarding the prevention and treatment of renal failure, especially in cases complicated by cardiovascular disease. Dr. Maxie is the founder and director of the Black Health Trust, which many of you have seen on my newsletter. I've sent it. I've listened to him throughout the COVID. This has been a voice that we have been able to tap in and to hold our hands as a community of color, what to do in these disparities. He's also the chair board of the CEO of Biometrics Corporation. He's the chairman and CEO of American Alliance. It goes on and on and on. He has served our community by providing credible, up-to-date information regarding physical and mental health and well-being during these challenging times. Dr. Maxie is just an awesome, awesome person. I'm so glad. And he is out there in California. He's the doctor of many famous people in Hollywood. Some of them I met at his, when he retired from the NMA. And so without further ado, we bring you Dr. Maxie to just share a little of the work that you're doing with the Black Health Trust and your opinion on how is it that we could move through this period of what I call the universal timeout.
Well, thank you.
Take a few minutes and just share with us what you're doing, how we can find and connect with you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for having me and for the very generous introduction you provided. I always look up to you for my guidance in spirituality. We established the Black Health Trust originally as an effort to keep my family safe. And it just grew and grew, and they started inviting their friends and acquaintances. And now we reach by streaming live on Facebook, on YouTube, and everything else, several thousand people all over the world. And we have a broadcast every Sunday at 3 o'clock Eastern, 12 o'clock Pacific time. And we bring on world-class doctors to talk about the various aspects of not only COVID-19, but health disparities in general. And we cover all of the areas, including mental health, spiritual health. We cover the issues of Black people being the tip of the spear and often getting infected more and dying more than the general population. We also look at the political aspects of the COVID, of our community, of racism, structural racism, of the problems that result from childhood experiences. We look at the entire relationship of survival as Black people in a Western world. We have most recently been focused on all of the issues about vaccines. And we formed a task force headed by Dr. Ivan Walks, former Commissioner of Health for the city of Washington, D.C. And we met with all the pharmaceutical firms. We met with the FDA. We met with the CDC. We met with the National Medical Association Task Force on vaccines. And we independently, through our experts, decided that we would endorse the NMA's position that we would recommend all of the current vaccines, the Pfizer, the Moderna, and now the J&J to our communities of color. We feel that it is very important to stem the tide of this disease. We know that there's a lot of controversy about vaccines in general, where people have wrongly spoken about people having mental effects and children having effects from those vaccines. We know that any medication that you take has a potential for a side effect or an abnormal reaction. But by and large, we know that without the smallpox vaccine, without the polio vaccine, many of us would not be here now. But these new vaccines, in particular the mRNA vaccines, are being given, and they're not even real live organisms or viruses. They are what I call a photocopy, a computer copy that is able to generate a reaction and create antibodies to that. And people say, well, they have side effects. They're going to put a chip in you. Well, what do you think the side effect of getting the organism is, of getting the COVID-19? The side effect is probably death or destruction or what we call the long haul syndrome, where you're hypercoagulable. You have cerebritis, which is inflammation of the brain, myocarditis, which is inflammation of the heart, kidney failure in many cases, neurological diseases, psychiatric diseases. So we believe that by far the vaccines are much less risky than getting the disease. So we've been very proactive on that. But understand that the best thing is not to get the disease in the first place. And the way you can mitigate that is to lead a healthy life, eat healthy, make your immune system as strong as possible. And we recommend correct eating leafy green vegetables. We take prenatal vitamins, and I'm not a mother, but we take those because they have all the micronutrients, vitamin D, we take vitamin C, zinc, selenium, and these are all recommended to help boost your immune system. We know that if you're obese, you're more of a target for the virus. If you're diabetic, you're more of a target. And we try to correct those situations as well. We know that the disease affects older people more. Those who are 65 and older bear the brunt of the disease. And so we try to make sure they get their immunizations first. We also know there are political aspects to this, that our communities have been not given access to the vaccine as much as other communities have. So we want there to be health equity. We want our people to be treated even more and first, because we have the kind of jobs that you can't stay home from. You can't work by distance. So those are things that we want people to do. I'm happy to answer any questions that people may have, Yeye. And why don't I stop there?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Maxie, for giving us that overview of exact work that you're doing. So everyone, please go to blackhealthtrust.org and get the information how to tap into this every Sunday. My question to you, Dr. Maxie, is, as a father, a husband, a man, a doctor, who you still have your practice in California, what do you call on, or who do you call on when it pertains to, as an African descended man, how and what do you call on for the courage that is required for you to show up as who you are, in spite of all of the distractions of the media and all of the things that we may find that people who have been, sometimes we have not been given the right, formula for success. As a man and a father and a husband, as a Black man, how do you find, or where do you go to? Who has inspired you to become this fantastic doctor for over 40, 50 years of doing the work in the community and a community activist? Where do you get that energy?
Well, I was thinking about this earlier today, and you know well that I had my mother's older sister, my Aunt Nana, who early on in the African tradition, and I didn't know anything about Africa at the time, but she brought me home from the hospital and lifted me up to God and dedicated me to God and told me that my service would be to my people. And all through life, she and my mom and my dad and her husband guided me into the area of service to humankind through medical skills and spiritual skills, to which you have contributed greatly as well. So that's just what I do. That's all I know. And today I recognize that, I myself had a medical problem over the past several months, and I was regarded that I could be totally blind. But I asked God to protect me and to bring my vision back, to make the surgeon's hands be well. And my spiritual background upheld me. And I'm here in testimony of that. So this is what I do. This is my job. This is my orientation.
Sure. Thank you so much, because I know how you have traveled all over the world. As a matter of fact, we've traveled together all over the world in several places of doing the work that you do, of encouraging others. But more than that, you're always encouraging and inspiring others to show up as spiritual beings and as committed to our ancestors. Because I know, because you happen to be one of my dearest friends' brother, Efulayo Maxie. This is Dr. Someone is asking, what is Dr. Maxie's first
Yeah.
His name is Randall Maxie.
So,
And
so if Lyle is my boss.
As a person that you she's your younger sister, but your boss. Okay, we'll work with that. Yes. So that's the thing, is that every time I'm with you or around you or hear of you, you're always doing things. You're a community activist. You're always doing something to help us to get to the other side. As a doctor and a renal specialist, what are the numbers in our community as it pertains to us being on dialysis? What are the processes that we can expect because the reason I'm asking this, and I'm sounding kind of cloudy, is that yesterday I was hearing that sometimes when people go in for dialysis and that, they're not treated in the same way as they do people of different racial groups. So as a doctor, do you find that when we are in a place sick or ill and we're going in for doing this COVID thing, or if we're going for dialysis, that which you have your own dialysis center that you offer services, what is it that gives you encouragement when you see that the disparity and you see the differences in the way that we are treated? How do you get that Ogun courage to push through and help people that feel helpless?
Well, first of all, I truly know and believe that the Black people, the Black race, is the origin of all mankind. And I believe that the original intelligence, the original medical knowledge, as we know it, was taught to us by God. Now, because of certain things that have happened over history, we find ourselves on the wrong side of much of that treatment. And in fact, as far as the diseases that lead to renal disease or kidney disease, we have 4 to 5 times more high blood pressure than any other group, 2.5 times more diabetes than any other group. And the kidney is the Achilles heel of the Black race. More recently, it has been discovered that there are 2 genes, the AO1, AOE2, that lead to kidney failure in the face of high blood pressure and diabetes. And we know that diabetes causes almost 50% of all kidney failure. That also happens with obesity and the other cardiovascular disease that we have. So my mission is to eradicate those precursors of kidney disease. What happens many times when our people go to these dialysis centers, they're treated by insensitive people who are not of color, or even if they're of color, they don't have the same mentality or clinical competence and personal competence that we have. And the patients are glad to see me. I call them by their correct names and treat them with respect. And people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And in our kidney centers, I have 17 of them located in Puerto Rico. And I've been blessed to be given an agreement to build them all over the country now, starting this week. So I pray that that goes well and ask your support on that. But it's very important that we take the lead, that we take the horse by the bridle, and we build our own dialysis centers. Right now, of the 600,000 plus patients on dialysis in the United States, more than 50% of them are Black. And we make only 13% of the US population, but 50% of the dialysis population. So is that right? Absolutely not. So we've got to take care of ourselves, but we also need good physicians. And I'll have you know, there are probably less than 25 African-American kidney specialists in the United States. Now, we do have some Caribbean brothers and sisters, some African brothers and sisters, but we do not have African-Americans that are treating kidney disease as owners of dialysis centers. So we got to change that ratio. And going even further back, in all the medical schools in the United States, there are less than 100 African-American physicians in all the classes of all the medical schools. So we are not making the numbers. We're not teaching our children. We're not bringing them into the skills. So we need help on that. We need to train our young kids up to go into medicine and to treat people.
Gotcha. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Maxie, for that sharing. Is we need more doctors. So our children, as Dr. Maxie said, we are the beginning of what we know as health, as doctors. This is a call for our brilliant children of color to take up the baton passed by Dr. Maxie and become doctors. We need that because we find that, like you say, people are going to be people, and you show up, and because of their own, issues and that, they're going to present who they are. So for us to have the dialysis, for us, we have another show that we talk about health. And I had in my newsletter this month, we gave you wave and contacts information where you can find health practices that can help you to have a balanced life and to have a healthier lifestyle. In my newsletter, it's up on my website. You can go in and check it out for the doctor. And a very good friend of mine, Dr. Heru, he's been on the show before, that helps you to avoid you getting to dialysis. But Dr. Maxie is letting us know, if you know of anyone that's on dialysis, and if you have families that have diabetes, and that, encourage one of your children, your grandchildren, to get involved with the medical profession. We need to be represented, especially with such a high number. So thank you so much, Dr. Maxie, for showing up as Ogun, the doctor, the one that will not stop. And he's over 25 years old. We're not going to say 25-year-old plus man that's still out there, still working, still goes to his job every day. Could have retired many years ago, but he's like, no, I have to go, and now opening up dialysis centers all over the world. So Dr. Maxie, I'm going to be praying for you and talking to Ogun for you to make sure that happens, so that when on stage where, because of lack of information or just health or family issues or things that we have inherited and we continue to eat the same way and not change, that Dr. Maxie, you are necessary. So I know that Ogun is going to give us the energy and the encouragement, and you're going to make a difference in the world, and the dollars that you're making is going to be able to encourage young people to know that you can make money as a doctor. But don't go in it for being a doctor. Go in it because you're committed and you're working the work of Ogun, which is just being deliberate and being consistent, working through all of the studies, all of the years, and there are scholarships and all of that out there now for you. So go ahead, young men and women, become doctors. Tell your children, encourage them to rank high in the sciences. Thank you so much, Dr. Maxie, for that. That was awesome. Thank you for representing Ogun, the medicine man, the one who cuts into our bodies, the doctor, the divine one. Thank you so much, Dr. Maxie, for the work that you're doing down in LA and globally, all over. Someone is your center, the name of your center. I did not copy that. Can I put it in here? What is the name of the center about your office?
Community Care Medical Group. It's located in Inglewood, California at 310-680-1810. My dialysis units right now are in Puerto Rico. We have 17 that's called American Hemodialysis Holdings, and we go under the name of Atlantis. But soon we'll be popping up all over the United States.
Can you say that again, just the name of it, the group, so that we can type it in?
Advanced Community Medical Care Corporation.
Okay. We'll write that in the chat. Thank you very much, Dr. Maxie, for that. Thank you so much. So next, we're going to go to the next aspect of Ogun. We're going to go to this person who is Nika Roach. Going to go with him because the way that it showed up, the way that y'all signed in, that's how you're coming in. So Nika, Shango Oba Nika Roach. Nika Roach has been collecting business since the age of 12. He'd watch farmers, skilled traders, tradespeople, and even a few drug dealers create excitement for their product and services. Growing up, Shango by Nika, growing up in a small African village in South Carolina, Nika had to learn early that people will buy just about anything if it solves a problem. Despite his young age, he sold everything from wood carvings, candy, clothing, and even personal care service. This worked. Beautifully when he started his first official company in middle school. In high school, Nika expanded the interest to start a personal care service for older Americans that taught him the value of relationship building, trust, and listening attentively to the customer. Bored after high school, he decided to join the U.S. Army Medical Corps, serving in the Persian Gulf War in this distinction. Although he loved the camaraderie the military provided, the call to business building kept calling, and in 1997 he started a million and wellness center. 2 years later, has launched a nutritional marketing company working in weight loss industry that gave him the ability to duplicate himself and coach others in the process that was exhilarating, in his words. Many more companies later, he co-founded a discount travel membership and coaching company that helped home business owners leverage their service, and was twice featured on the cover of Home Business Advertiser magazine. Today, Nika works with experienced business owners to start up, helping them create systems that allow the company leaders the time to create amazing new products without burdening themselves attempting to figure themselves out. He is passionate about serving and takes quite pride watching others expand their business beyond expectations using simple tools and providing business methodology. Shango Obanike, who I happen to know also, is the father of 3 of my grandchildren, my beautiful daughter-in-law. And Shango Obanike has his master's and his undergraduate and all the good stuff that makes him such a joy and a pride. You see my chest is getting bigger. Pride today representing Ogun, the man, the entrepreneurial. You have a beautiful business for many, many years here in Winston-Salem. Very respected. I think one of the most successful and long-lasting um, um, wellness centers here in Winston-Salem that provides acupuncture and health and wellness practice, as well as massage therapy. As a Black businessman here, I have watched you, and the respect that you have from all communities is amazing. And now you have always been an activist, a community-oriented person that always believed in giving back. And the things that you give back to the community that you work with, the military, the people that are retired, your military comrades, I can just go on and on talking about you and how much you look like me. Well, thank you so much, Nika, for agreeing to be here and to be on the show. So I just want you to welcome you, just talk about your business and your 3 books that you've written and the things that you do to make Ogun, the energy of entrepreneurial success as a father and as a husband, as a provider. What and how do you find strength and call on Ogun, the masculine energy, to be all that you are? Thank you. I'm done.
I don't know if I could come behind that one. Well, thank you, Yeye, for allowing me to be here today. And I feel humbled, honored, appreciative of you and all the tools and talents and struggles that you've gone through to give me such skills, such insights, such spiritual grounding to also help my wife, help our boys. But also I feel honored and privileged to have Dr. Funlayo, as well as Baba Kwaku, as well as Dr. Maxie, who had a significant portion of my life, specifically when a health challenge when I was on a business seminar, ironically, when I visited California. So I feel honored to be in such company, and I'm glad that I can share. And hopefully some insights will help other business owner or would-be business owners down the road. So what would you like to ask? Because I didn't hear that because it kind of got a little staticky.
Okay, so the book that you wrote, the first book that you wrote, I love that book. I still have it. I share it with you. Say what motivated you to write that book, and as an honoring Ogun, how is it that you find this joy that you have in all of your broadcasts that you make people just laugh and want to come back and get more? So give us the little story behind the first book that you wrote.
Okay.
And where can we find it?
The book is called, sorry, before I start laughing a little bit more, it's called The Home Business Guy. Let me try to remember what it's called because I totally forgot it just a few moments ago. And good thing I have a copy here. Shameless plug, just so I can remember. It is called, I can't remember, it's called 52 Ways to Fund Your Home Business, Even If You're Broke, Your Credit Sucks, and All Your Friends Hate You. Yes, shameless plug. And
Show the book.
Sorry, shameless plug. Shameless plug. Sorry. So I wrote the book. It came to me in a dream because as you were saying in the bio, I have a strong desire to just see people free from challenges and problems. Not to say they can't go down their own road and their own path. You know, Ogun, as you had spoke about it, is a path maker. You know, it's someone who takes brush, you know, that's challenged, that finds, you know, the difficult roads and creates a road. It's sort of like it's very, and the way you phrased it all together was the path maker, the medicine man, those who go to war and not war to the sense that just to hurt people, but to war to defend. I think that sometimes we think of war as just a destructive power, but as to defend the weak, those who cannot do for themselves or have difficulty going against a stronger foe. They need someone to stand in the gap. And oftentimes men do that. You know, we do it very well. We have broad shoulders, we have minds, we have physicality to help us. But to take that into the business sector is very appreciative because it's a challenge. It's uncut forest, it's woods, it's whatever. And you take that in and you look for challenges. And I think that's important. So when I was writing this first book, it was really addressing the many challenges that I saw small home business companies start out with. And when I say home business, this is not always just, you know, online businesses. These are, you know, garage or basement or attic or over the kitchen table businesses. And it was just, one of the things that I found is a lot of folks kept saying, hey, I don't have the money. I don't have the money to get started. And I think oftentimes that takes some of the brilliance out of people and take the wind out of their sails, is that they think that they don't have the money. Now, if you live in the Western society, there is an abundance of wealth. Dr. Max has already alluded to that there's an abundance of wealth if you have a desire to serve and help others and solve problems. And I think that's fundamental in my business experience in learning how to serve somebody and looking out for a problem. When there's a problem, people will probably be willing to pay you. And there are some times where there is no desire to make money, but the money that the folks need someone to pay their medical bills. Times they need folks to pay for a family member in an emergency to fly over. These different times, there's some folks, you know, in this specific time of year, that need someone who has wealth to be able to create capital, to be able to create industry, to create solutions. And business, I believe, is a playground that anybody can go in it. And it doesn't really matter if you have a business background. If you have a desire to serve, I believe every person that has a desire can become a business person and be very successful at it.
Yeah. So someone is asking the name of the book again.
Oh, sorry. 52 Ways to Fund Your Home Business, Even If You're Broke, Your Credit Sucks, and All Your Friends Hate You. Yes, I do have a sense of humor as well. And you can find that on Amazon, as well as Barnes and Nobles.
Yes. One of the questions I want to ask. One of the questions I wanted to ask you is the newest book that you're doing leads you into speaking a little as to what it is that you're doing now with with your experience with the military as working as one of those that were protecting, as Ogun, as a warrior that went to the Gulf War, which I cried many nights, to the Gulf War, and you came back and the passion for it, and what you saw, what the things that you do now, helping veterans. That's so important, because when you spoke to me the other day, we were talking and you were sharing some things that there's so many benefits that people don't know that they can receive. That's one of the things now that Ogun, you have taken with your military service and you've did what you needed to do, and now you're taking the experience, bringing it back to the community. I want you to help the men and women who have served in the military as representation of Ogun. How can they find their benefits? How can they get the money that is theirs that they work for? So, and then tell us about the newest book that you're writing now.
Well, there are two aspects to that. So one of them, the book that I'm working on, and actually should be out in about a month and a half, of working on some marketing strategies, is called actually about my primary, which is a massage therapy field guide. And that's very specific to massage therapists, and there incorporates different aspects of helping veterans. Now, the reason why, and I'm glad you brought that up about veterans, is that specifically Gulf War era veterans. Now, if you have an uncle or a grandmother or even a mother who served in Vietnam, many of those veterans, and earlier, World War II, as well as the Korean War, not many World War I veterans floating around these days, but it's sort of like in the Gulf War, it's the longest war that we've been engaged in U.S. history that is actually active combat. Technically, Korea is the longest, but this is one that we're actively engaged in combat pretty much every day. And this encompasses Afghanistan, this encompasses Kuwait and all the Middle East. This is a large number of individuals. Now, what happens when those individuals come home? Many of them are so upset. Many of them are so disconnected that they don't want to have anything to do with the military or anything to do with the Veterans Administration. They want to go away. The other side of it is many of them have to go back into work. They have to transition from warrior to business person, from warrior to mom, from warrior to dad to sister, and they come back in. Well, a lot of times they don't have the time or the resources to be able to just really engage and see all the benefits that are available for them. So what we did about 2 years ago is we started really focusing on Gulf War era veterans, because we saw a need. There were folks who were hurting, both mental, physically, financial, and they were unaware. And the reason I noticed is because for 28 years myself, after I left the military, I did not plug into the Veterans Administration or any veterans benefits 28 years. Until fortunately another veteran talked to me, and then I started to figure out that there's millions of veterans floating around who are hurting both internally and externally, and you don't always see that. Some of them are your physicians, some of them are your teachers, but they don't understand that there's a number of other benefits that are available for them. So we started a group that started online originally, and now it's forming larger and larger groups around the nation, and that's Gulf War era veterans.
Yeah, so where can people find, or how can they get the benefits that is theirs? How are there branches? Is there direction that if someone comes to you and says, I need to know, how can I get, it comes from massage, and they said it was an injury I had in the army or that I went to the war. How do you direct them? Just quickly, give us an expression of someone as a massage therapist. What would you do?
Okay, cool. That's an easy one. So in that case, if someone is hurt both physically or mentally, and massage or acupuncture can help, they can contact their local Veterans Administration health facility, and they will get them connected to someone like us. In our area, we're one of the very few who do what we do, and we're specialists in that specific area. So they can go to their local VA or go online to va.gov, and they'll plug you into the VA. And I'll be honest, the VA is a large organization. And if you don't know it, it's the second largest federal service in the government. That should shock you. That's a lot of people. But they don't cover everything. And that's what we started to do, is to cover folks who come into our physical clinic, but we also mentor them, help them to guide them to some resources that are available both inside the government or external, and try to get them back into society and be productive. Yeah,
because we have a lot of people with PTSD and emotional imbalance, and they are feeling that they
Right.
have to do it on their own. So can you tell us that where is it? What's the link again? Give it to us slowly so that we can type it in. I'm trying to type it in.
Sorry.
But,
If you go to va.gov, it's a federal service. That is probably the best place to start with regards to all the different benefits that are available to veterans, both male, female, or those who haven't, have a different, gender identity. And the military, or rather the VA, has now taken that out. Gender identity is accepted. They don't really get into if you're a male, female anymore. So there are available resources regardless. And there are a lot of veterans who are coming back who are hurt externally and internally. You don't see that. You don't see them crying at night. You don't see the businessman or the businesswoman who's crying at night in a corner until you get them together in a group and they really disclose what's going on. And so what we try to do in our facility and in some of the facilities that we work with as sister and brother organization is to get those folks to the right care. If it's physical care, or if it's medicine, or it's mental health, or nutrition, or something, or even spiritual health, regardless of what their path is, we try to get them and point them to a direction that's going to heal them and help them to recover and actually be very productive. And you'll find that people who serve in the military have a code, and they're some of the best people you'll ever get an opportunity to work with.
I share because of the discipline, because they come with discipline and order. So that's why it is. They show up, they man up, they got to show up, and that's what they do. So thank you so much. I have a question for you now, because It says that you started your first business at 12 years old. Give us, how did you start your first business? Because
you just gotta go there, don't you? You gotta go there, don't you?
You are a son of Shango, so I know money inspires you, not motivate you, but inspires you. So give us a little, how did you start your first business, and what is it, and how is it that you find, what inspires you to have Ogun's work? Through your courage, your commitment, and your activism, because you're always active in the community. You have started all types of veterans groups to support emotionally. I mean, it's a long, broad brush. When did you start your business? What gave you the courage, and how you kept focused? You said even drug dealers inspired you. So give us a quickie.
Okay. So first business actually was helping folks, in my small community in village, in Oyotunji African village was there, and folks carrying wood, from one place to another, solving little problems, raking up yards, taking care of and a quarter, $1 here, there, was very rewarding when you're 12 years old in a smaller community. Then our family migrated, and this is where it really gets interesting. Our family migrated to a larger city, to a bigger community, a community of people I had no idea what they were. I grew up in a community which everybody was Africoid. There was nothing else. There were no Asians. There were nobody. Well, there were Latin Americans there, but you couldn't see because you got to go deeper a little there. And then I decided to go into community care and taking care of lawns. And that sort of is the premise of the book. Even if you're broke and your credit sucks and all your friends hate you, my first loan did not come from a bank. My first loan from my first lawnmower, which I pushed all over Charlotte. I didn't have a car, was Yeye. Yeye loaned me $50 so I can start my first official business. And when I say first official, because there's a distinction. There's a first business, and there's a first business that has a bank account attached to it. So I had an official business because it had a bank account attached to it that folks can write me checks. So that was technically my first business that had a business account to it. So I credit that to you. So thank you, Yeye, for being. And I know. And let me start real quick, because I don't want to take it from the next guest. Is that even though Ogun represents masculinity and Ogun represents the force of testosterone and stuff, you have to understand that there's a mother in there, and Ogun also represents motherhood and strength and courage. And I'll tell you, I've seen the strongest people I've ever seen were women, not men, who took on a lot of pain to bring you in the world and to stay up and stand in a battle. And I've seen women in battle, and they'll fight like wolves to protect their brother and sister in their company. So don't just automatically assume that Ogun is just masculine and only men. Ogun also represents women and the force that can't be reckoned with or brushed aside.
Thank you, Nika, for that, because as you remember, I said that it's more prevalent and visible
Very
in
true.
men. So we know a woman will protect her like a wolf. Yes, so thank you so much for that, Nika, because the reason I wanted you to come as an entrepreneur, but also someone who served in the military, because sometimes in our community, we come from different perspectives as to who we are and where we come from and what it is that we do. And when we come from one understanding, and then we move through our lives and the old dude that carries us, and we go through different things, we sometimes feel a way as people of African descent that, well, I'll never serve in the army and I'll never go to the military, but somebody got to defend us. Somebody got to defend us and provide for us. And so I wanted you to come on to speak about that, but also of health and your books and the things that you're doing, because as a man, as an African descended man that works in people of all cultures, and that I find you're inspiring in that whatever it is that life has taken you through, be a springboard to be in a positive framework, to always be in a positive way, to help someone, to bring them back up. And I just wanted you to share with that, about that you started your first business as a young child, to start and put out your flyers. I remember you went around the community, you said, I want to start a business. I says, okay. We printed out the thing, go to Office Depot or whatever, and then made the copies. And I said, put them on the cars of everybody, especially when the weather is hot, because nobody wants to get out there. But a 12-year-old, you made so much money, you ended up getting your first car and all of that as you matured and you had that kind of discipline. So Ogun commends you. I commend you. And as you're saying that women have the energy, and the mothers that support us, this month we're bringing forth the men. Last month we talked about the courage of Ogun. So thank you so much for sharing that with us, Nika, on your journey from selling wood at 8 years old, 7 years old, and drumming and being paid and sometimes not being paid. And your mother had to go to war for you to make sure you got money. And all of the stuff that you've done, it all built you. And the community, this mindset of community building and connection to community is the thing that all three of you have. And that's what I wanted us to know, that in spite of all that's going on and the distraction that we're having with this universal timeout, we still connect to community. And that's what this show is so much about, connecting to community as we heal and as we evolve and as we take whatever it is our passion is, be it being a doctor, being a businessman, be it someone that works for just bringing people together to feel better emotionally, spiritually. All of us are doing Ogun's work. So I commend you, Nika, on the work that you're doing and all of the things that you're doing. Just let us know how and where we can find you. I don't even think that you do you go to the office and do massages anymore? Because I know you have other folk doing it, or acupuncture, you have other folk doing it.
Actually, I do. I still, I will be a healthcare practitioner, a provider. I'll probably be like Dr. Maxie. I could sit down, but there's a desire and there's a need in this. As long as I have breath in my lungs, that I would do what God has given me, these hands and this mind, to be able to serve my community as best as I can, both, as a physical health practitioner, but also as a business leader and student, and always learning from others in the community who are willing to share. So I'm forever privileged and honored to be in this community. And thank you for allowing me to be here with such honored and well-respected individuals like Baba Kwaku and Dr. Maxie and yourself and Dr. Funlayo.
So where can you find, go online and make it? So where can we go online to make an appointment, that if you're fortunate enough to get a massage from Shongo Banike, it's wonderful. Wonderful, because those hands that used to be drummers, they can just get in there. But anyway, tell us where we can find you.
Yes, you can find me at 6ths.com. That's 6ths, the number 6, Tango Hotel Sierra.com. If you're in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And if you're out and about and we're not in COVID season and I happen to be in your fair city, I come visit still.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Nika. Thank you. Okay, next we're going to go to our guest, Baba Kwaku. Baba Kwaku, I've known for many, many years. And Dr. Baba Kwaku, I have your bio on here as well. And I'm just going to read a little. Where is it? Where is it? Sorry. Sorry. Maybe you can just tell us because I'm still trying to find it in the phone. Hold on one second. Hold on. This is where Dr. Fulai would have some music playing. Okay, Baba Kwaku, go ahead. And if I get in there, I will find it. I'm trying to find your bio because okay, go ahead, Baba. Express yourself. Baba Kwaku is a wonderful. He's many years as an engineer. He's the owner. He's a community activist, a Pan-Africanist. He provides connections to Ghana, to the Caribbean, to the world in the work that he's doing in building a community for African descended people who are returning to the motherland. He's the father of 4 children, a wonderful husband, a magnificent chef, vegan chef. He is the bomb. And his daughter is also a chef. And she's just 18 years old. So he is living by inspiring others and his family. So that, Baba, can you please speak a little as to what it is you're doing, what brings us here, and Kwaku Baba is going to speak about his path to healing his emotional aspect of Ogun, of using his courage and his determination to heal some of the things that he found in his life, in his own Odu, in his manifestation, and walking through this world as a man. Some of the things of people of African descent, we suffer from different things that we sometimes, it takes us a while to get to the point of accepting healing, of recognizing the need for it, or even just reaching out to others. So Baba is going to speak to us as to the work that he's doing in Ghana, the work that he's always done, and mostly the work that he's doing with his wife, with this beautiful, wonderful, supportive service for from bringing from pain to power. Thank you, Baba. So give us a little about who you are, what you do, because I'm still looking for your bio.
Alafia, Alafia. Thank you, yeah, thank you, Randall Yeyefini, for inviting me on your platform. I'm so happy to be here, and trust me, I don't know how to express my joy for being here with you. Just to share the stage with you is an honor in itself. And briefly about me is just from humble beginnings. Me and my wife, we've been on this journey on helping our community, and coming to that point in my life, I had to come from my pain, and like you said, I had to turn my pain and bring it to my purpose, because in life we all have different experiences that bring us to where we are. And from my journey to where to bring me to where I am right now, I had to go through certain hills and valleys. I had to go through certain things just to learn and to be aware of myself, so I could be in tune with myself and start manifesting my purpose into this earth playing field. So me being a fatherless son, I grew up with a single mother. I'm the oldest of 4 children from my mother. I'm the only boy. I'm the oldest boy. So my role for me came early as a big brother. It came early as a father figure to my sisters, and in that, I had to mature in life quicker. So a lot of things that a regular child would experience as a teenager, I didn't get to experience because I had to start taking up that role as an older brother and as a father figure to my younger sisters. And in doing that, I found myself getting involved in certain things I shouldn't get involved into. I fell into the street because not having that male role model, it lead for me to start looking outside for that male father figure that I was actually searching for. And in searching for that, I started, just like Nika was speaking earlier. I was I was falling to the streets. I started hanging around drug dealers. I started hanging around gangbangers and things of that nature. And for me, it became a part of my lifestyle because it's something that I grew around. So getting in trouble, doing things I wasn't supposed to do, end up going to prison. In prison, coming back home, trying to get things straight, still going back in prison again because still falling back into that same cycle. And at some point in my life, I had to take ownership of my responsibilities of being a human being in a society. And then when I start realizing and seeing the damage I was inflicting onto my community, I really had to do some soul searching. And in doing some soul searching, I start understanding myself from a spiritual standpoint. And then once interacting into that phase and coming to that phase of my life, I was able to start changing how I interact with myself, my community, with my family. And in that, discovering that not being in a positive male role model in terms of having someone as guidance and leadership, I had to start doing my own and start looking to myself for that own role and that own leadership role. So in my spiritual journey, I started to do a lot of research, and in my research and seeing the ancestry of black men and where we came from and the power that we hold and the historical value that we have on a society as a whole, on a civilization on a whole, I started had to take some self-responsibility for myself and for my actions. And in that, I started changing that pattern and start trying to break that cycle. And in breaking that cycle and do some soul searching, and meet my wife, which we knew each other from high school, so it was our kindred spirit was just following each other throughout that course of time, and in us connecting and seeing that she was on her spiritual journey, it connected us more. And in the work that she does as a psychotherapist, and in seeing the evolving of her and her work, and when she broke into this whole inner child wound that a lot of people, I know you know about, but a lot of people who probably follow her on her platform, Movements for Change, she talked a lot about the inner child. And in creating her course for healing the inner child wound, I started to see a lot of that in myself. And identifying that wound, I was able to start tapping in to the core of the issue, because a lot of these issues that we have is really us trying to recover from our childhood experiences, because a lot of our childhood experiences now as adults manifests itself in many different ways, right? So when within into that and seeing that effect that it had on me as an adult, and start working on that wound, that fatherhood wound, that motherhood wound that I have, because having an absentee father and then having an emotionally absent mother, right? And it's not to talk bad about that, because they had their own situations that they had to go through as well. They had their own struggles and they had their own tribulation. But as a child, seeking that validation and that the attention and that love wasn't there, to seeking in other places. So as an adult, I had to take ownership of that role, and I had to take ownership of my actions. And in taking ownership of my actions, I was able to start changing my ways, and in delving even deeper into those inner child wounds and starting working on ways of healing it through spiritual rituals, through working through with therapists, because I think as men we think that our mental health, we don't really look at that aspect of our life. I don't know if you hurt your foot, you go to a doctor. You know what I mean? If you feel chest pains, you go to a doctor. But when you feel your mental health is being impacted, and I'm saying that you're going crazy, not saying that, but in terms of just dealing with the society as a whole, everything that's going on right now with the COVID season, all the thing that's going on with the brutality that's going on with our brothers and sisters in the streets, all these things take tolls on us mentally, and it breaks down our psyche. And once your psyche gets invaded, you lose all sense of self. You lose even your spiritual self itself. So that being said, I had to do the work to fortify myself, to make sure that I do the necessary things that's able for me to heal, so that I could show up to be the husband, to be the father, to be the person in the community to help our brothers and sisters. Because if you don't work on yourself first, then there's no way you can help those that need the help. And once I recognize that, and once I see myself healing, because it's still a journey, I'm not fully there. It's an everyday situation where you have to constantly do the work. But with that doing the work, I felt it now that it's time for me to pay it forward. So with that being said, my wife and I, we sat, we thought about the work that she was doing for women, and we decided to create a course for men as well in teaching them how to deal with those inner child wounds, deal with those inner child pain. Because at the end of the day, we're all adults, right? And as adults, we spend our entire adult life trying to work through our childhood issues, right? Because when it show up in the adult ways, it shows up very different, right? So for us to be functional in the society and not to walk with chips or baggages into relationships and use our relationships as dumping ground for our pain and for our hurt. You have to really work through those issues. And in doing that, you can show up to be your authentic self. You can show up and to live your purpose. You could show up and turn that pain and transfer that into your purpose. So in doing so and coming to that realization of self, I was able to start manifesting and start creating opportunities for myself and my family. One of the opportunities that we were able to create, we own multiple businesses. We have a travel company that we do tours to Africa. We have our courses that we teach online, healing the inner child wound, from pain to purpose for men and women. We also have our, right now we're doing great works in Ghana. We have our NGO that we just started called the Aya Foundation in honor of our great ancestors, my wife's father, Aya Babas. We created an organization, an NGO, a non-governmental organization in Ghana, where we aid in the academics and the youth advancement in Africa. So the Aya Foundation stands for African Youth Advancement in Africa, right? Advancement of Youth in Africa. That's the name of the foundation, the Aya Foundation. So in doing that
Yes,
work,
I found my.
oh, you found, yeah. So in doing that work in Africa, we started
I
to,
found your bio.
oh, thank you. Yeah, so in doing the work, in starting the organization, we were able to work within the Caribbean, in Jamaica, and in Ghana. We traveled over 3 different African nations so far. We traveled within the Caribbean as well. We done work in Jamaica, the Haile Selassie High School in Jamaica. We did work in Ghana as well. We have 3 different orphanages that we adopted that we do work with in Ghana. And currently, right now, we are on our next project where now we have bought some land through our investment team that we formed, and now we're building a gated community for diasporans who are willing to return home to the motherland, and we're able to aid you and assist you with that return. So that community is called Sankofa Garden Estates. So it's a lot. It's a lot that manifested just from me working through some of those issues that were used to hold me back by myself, because I had to take responsibility for those. So at the end of the day, if we know that we pay attention to our thoughts and to our feelings and to our action, we're able to use that as an energy to propel us to meet our goal and our purpose that we are here to serve. So I'm so thankful for being here. I'm thanking you for giving me.
Yes. Yes, thank you, Baba. I found your bio, so I'm going to read it so everybody knows all that you're doing and they can get the information. Because I was trying to do this as producer and director up in here. So Baba Kwaku, of course, he's a master electrician and experienced project manager in the construction industry for over 25 years. He's also an internationally known cultural preservationist and philanthropist amongst diaspora community in Jamaica, Africa, and the United States. Baba Kwaku is the co-founder of the Akoma Healing Arts Collective. That's what you want to look for, the Akoma Healing Arts Collective, Inc., and the Aya Foundation nonprofit in Ghana. Baba Kwaku, together with his wife, hosts tours to Ghana, West Africa. West Africa, and teaches the awareness of the Back to Africa movement through their signature event, Let's Talk Africa. Look up the Let's Talk Africa on YouTube. More recently, Baba Kwaku works has expanded as he founded the Diaspora Development Community in Ghana, West Africa, known as the Sankofa Garden Estates. He is spearheading a team of investors, architects, and project managers to build a gated community that will and diasporians in a safe return home to the motherland. I wanted you to talk briefly about the experiences of people, your first trip going to Africa, to Ghana specifically, because you've been other parts of Africa, to Ghana, and what inspired you, and how can people find sense in the fact that many people want to leave America now for Ghana. Can you shed a little light on, we had Sister Imakas on, which you worked with before, to dispel the illusion that you just get there and says, oh, I'm here, Mother Africa. You know, you quit your job and you show up. So give us a little insight into that as the son of Ogun, as an electrician, as an entrepreneurship. All you men are just rocking. And that's why I had to bring y'all on. Baba, tell us, how is it that someone that wants to go to Africa just wake up and says, I'm quitting my job, and I'm going to Africa? And why is it that you want to build this gated community? Why gated? Go ahead.
Yes, so I've been traveling to Ghana from 1998, and how I got to Ghana was I was in Jamaica. I was on in the hills with in the Rasta camp in the hills, and then Flight Lieutenant J.J. Rollins came to Jamaica during the Emancipation celebration in Jamaica, which is 1st of August. Which, for those who don't know, emancipation for the Caribbean island, or those of that was colonized by the British, they received emancipation on the 1st of August, right? So a lot of the country that was colonized by the British, they were all technically freed on August 1st. So they had a celebration in Jamaica for Emancipation Day, and J.J. Rollins, the president of Ghana at that time, came to Jamaica. When he came to Jamaica, he was at a celebration. I went to the celebration, and we were there at the celebration. We heard one of his speeches, and the speech that he gave, it was so impactful because he showed the connection of those from Ghana and those in Jamaica, and saying that we are the descendants of the Ghanaian people. We are the descendants of the Akan, of the Ashanti people. Those that he saw in Jamaica, he said we were some of the sons and daughters that was taken from Ghana and brought to Jamaica in particular. And when he shared about the history about the Jamaican flag and the colors that is shared with the Ashanti kingdom in Ghana, it really struck a chord with me. And from that time, I said, listen, I have to go to Ghana. I have to go to Ghana. So I went to Ghana in 1998. And the same year I went to Ghana, he also implemented the Emancipation celebration in Ghana at that time. So I've been traveling back and forth from Ghana from 1998. And it's been a slow experience because the country itself been through a lot of changes over the years. And now it's one of the emerging rising stars in West Africa right now and on the continent on the whole. So for me, that experience really gave me the drive to start traveling to Ghana. And eventually, as traveling and learning the culture and making connections and meeting people, then the business aspect came into play, right? Because, like you were saying, a lot of people, because of romanticism and due to certain situations, they just get up and just leave. And it's not that easy. You have to have a plan. You have to really plan what you're going to do, what you want to do, and how you want to do it. And once you do that, you have to network and meet the right people, travel, visit, learn the lay of the land. Because not only are you returning home, you're coming to a situation where culturally there's differences in the culture. And being that we've been kidnapped and taken into the Western world, a lot of our culture, a lot of our history was eradicated from us. So now traveling back to Africa, you're being reintroduced into this culture. You have to take your time to learn it and learn the different aspects of the culture itself and re-Africanize your mind. Because as conscious I thought I was in traveling to Ghana, I see that I still had a lot to learn because the culture is still different. How you do things, how you greet people, how you talk to people, how you deal with people culturally, the different things that makes every aspect of the culture different because you had different tribes, so you had different customs for each tribe. So for me, it was more of taking my time, learning the culture, and meshing myself with the people, and start doing that grassroots activism that I'm used to doing in the States, reaching out to orphanages, helping the children, and basically work from that point outward.
Yes, thank you. And why a gated community? I wanted you
Well,
to
I mean,
address that because
so in working within the continent and starting to do the tour, um, I was more inspired by the works of Marcus Messiah Garvey in terms of his whole Pan African mindset and his vision in seeing that the sons and daughters who were taken from Africa and brought to the Western world, that they had a safe way to return home, and that it was for us to know that we have a place that we could call home. That the transgressions and all the things that we face in this Western Hemisphere, in the depths of North America, in the Caribbean and South America, the way that we were treated, the way we are treated until this day, we could go to a place that we could see ourselves, where we could feel free. Because that's one of the greatest feelings I have when I'm in Africa, despite what everyone want to say about what's going on the continent. When I'm there, I feel free. I feel like a human being, right? Despite everything else that's going on. And just for that feeling alone is priceless. So for me, I wanted to share that experience with my brothers and sisters in the diaspora. So this in creating this community, it was a way for me to fulfill the works of Marcus Garvey. It was the way for me to fulfill this mission in bringing our brothers and sisters home. So, in creating our tour, that was the first phase of our mission. And in that transition, we started to branch out and see that our brothers and sisters were willing to return home and was asking questions, inquiring about land. So in that, I had the foresight, and I sat and I spoke with my team, and I was like, listen, we need to see if we could create an opportunity, just like Nika was saying. If you could come up with a solution to a problem, a business could form out of that situation right away. So in hearing that need and seeing that people are willing or yearning to return home, and having the opportunity that presented itself for us to purchase land, we purchased the land, and hence we started this whole project. And right now, out of this whole universal timeout situation that we had, this whole situation transpired through this whole time. So with us creating this community, it makes it full circle for us to bring our ancestors back to where they yearn to come, which is us as his children returning home. So for us in creating a community, right, our whole purpose of creating a gated community is that we're in a larger community as a whole, and we wanted to have that security. We wanted to have that presence of us being in an environment that you could feel safe, an environment that you could feel protected. Not to say that you're protecting yourself from anything, but living in this Western hemisphere and seeing how the communities are being built, that's the same way that they build communities in Ghana. So we took upon ourselves to, being in the industry myself, in construction, that's the model that we decided to do, to that bring that sense of comfort, and the sense of same level of lifestyle that we're used to into the Western Hemisphere, and just bring that home on the continent itself.
thank you. Yes, that's the thing. There's that, to give that comfort and to have the same, because we think even though we're from Africa, we're in Africa, we still have an external experience that we bring in, and we want to feel comfortable, and the practices and while you're learning the culture, you can learn it as a group in that community, in the safety of the community. So now, thank you so much. That was just awesome. Your presentation was just awesome. Tell us where they can find you. Where we said that where you can find them. Go on YouTube. Every Monday evening, Monday at 9 o'clock, there's a free coaching session that happens. Go on Movement for Change.
Yeah, you can follow us on our Movements for Change. That's movements underscore for
You can put
underscore
it in the
change.
chat.
Yeah, you could follow us on that. That's our Instagram.
Yes.
That
Yes.
particular.
And the last question
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
one of the things I want to ask all of you, the members of the panel, is that what is it and what advice can you give to young men who, because y'all have been successful in your life, because for those who did not have fathers at home, you found your father image. For those who needed the discipline, found the army. For those who had parents who told them you have no choice but to be a success in life. For the boys that we have today in our society, that we find that they're falling through the cracks because there's no thing that's, there is, but I should say no, but what advice would you give mothers and fathers who find that their children are falling through the crack? Y'all as representation of Ogun, what advice do y'all give in terms of how to find the strength to go on? How do you tell a young man, how do you show a young man how to be, you know, still loving himself enough to know that if he stumbles and falls and that? Give us some Ogun ideas here. And how is it, how were you inspired to do Ogun's work, to find courage, commitment, hard work, to become activists in spite? So these are women and men who need your experience now. What would you say? So speak. Dr. Maxie?
I think everybody in my
Nika
family.
or Baba Kwaku, who wants to?
Am I muted?
I didn't. No, we can hear you.
Okay. I believe everybody in my family, men and women, all had the spirit of Ogun, especially Aunt Nana. So from early on, it took discipline. I disagree a lot with modern discipline, especially of the majority race here, where everything is lax and the kid can do what he wants. It took a certain amount of iron rod discipline and peach tree switches to get me on the right track. And I had more fear of home if I did something wrong than I did of any law enforcement. But I also had loving encouragement that I could do anything that I wanted to do in terms of positive accomplishment. I had encouragement, and I believed I could actually accomplish it. So I was very thankful for that.
Thank you, Dr. Maxie, for that. So you say family, and to letting you know that we have to go back to the traditions, the way that we were
Exactly.
raised. We have to take the good things that we were raised with and pass it on to the younger generation. We're gonna find it. Take the good. Don't throw the baby out with the basket, because there's some things that we didn't do very well. But the positive of it is that, as you say, you use that to and always encourage your children and let them know that you love them in spite of whatever, and meet them where they are. So thank you, Baba. What Chongo Banike, do you have any words of encouragement? How do you find strength as a father of 3 and a husband and a businessman? How do you find the strength in that to that you could share a word with men and women who are out here struggling and trying to find their children, want their children to be successful like y'all? All of you are $1 million entrepreneurs, successful businessmen, and example activists. How does a child find you? And not you per se, but how does he find his way into manhood? Nika. We can't hear you.
Sorry, I was muted. My apologies. Dr. Maxie alluded to it a little bit in there, and when he said was, I disagree on the willing, kind of letting them go their way. And I think one of the major functions that I see is structure, some form of structure, and structure and challenges, especially those who have a drive, a desire to clear the path, to go ahead, to run into the trees, and you will have those Ogun men who will want to go into the tree, because the tree, it doesn't mean that the tree is bad. It just means they have to go that way. They don't want to go to smooth and gentle. They want to go that way. And so they need a bit of structure to help them to say, if you hit a tree, we love you. We're encouraged by you. You walk your path. You do what you have to do. but understand that there's some structure in there. And what I mean more specifically is a schedule. I know sometimes it sounds a little strange, but a schedule for my boys, if we get off of our schedule, they go way off the deep end. So it's really allowing them and helping them, and you guide them through to say, hey, that from this time to this time, you're taking care of your personal hygiene. From this time to this time, you're taking care of your other stuff. And then sometimes I get a little, a little squirrely myself, but structure, love, encouragement, and I think that will help them. I think for the Ogun person, they need the discipline that Dr. Maxie said, but having that I don't want, not the comfort zone, but almost like the buffer that says you can do, as much as you want to do within this buffered zone. You go outside this region and there might be some hickory sessions in your future. So it's your path. You desire, if you want to go that path, I love you. Even though I have to, bring a little bit of pain to your backside, I will love you just the same.
It's called getting hit by the tree.
Exactly. so and sometimes I think we were watching a movie the other night, and I think there are two different ways. And I remember you saying that you were like, why don't they say something? Why don't they say something? It's a wonderful movie called like Concrete Cowboy that I just saw with my family the other night, which was, this is how men deal with things, with advice, not saying I am perfect, but here are some of the things I've learned and I'm going to show you. And there are men in the community. We are them. We are some of them. There are a lot more than you might think. They're not always the people that you think, every man. No, there are a lot of fathers who, if it wasn't for the fathers in my life, I would have a very long criminal record. And many of them pulled me to the side and said, Nika, don't go down that path. And I think as men, the onus is on to us to ask other men in the community. Mothers, don't be afraid to ask another man in the community. Can you help my child? He's having some difficulty. And all the men that I've come in contact in my life will be more than willing that help me when some time were difficult times, and I think that might go well.
Thank you so much. That's it. Reaching out, finding. There are people, in your church, in your mosque, in your synagogue, with your orisha, wherever it is. There are men that are doing the work, just like these men. I just know 3 that I brought together here. Ask a man to ask another man to show you another man that's doing the work. It's done. It's there. It's not. We can't just say that it's not happening. It is happening. The fact that y'all are here, in spite of anything else, that speaks true. So, Baba Kwaku, what do you have in terms of encouraging? Because you have 2 boys and 2 girls, right?
Yes. I mean, I agree with Baba
And so,
Maxie.
please give us. And you have a variety of difference in age.
Yeah. So I have 4 children myself. I have boy, girl, 8 years apart. So I have I have an adult, teenager, preteen, and I still have one that's 7 years old. So I have them in all different gamuts. So I'm going through all the different levels of experiences as we speak. But I agree with both our brothers here, man. They really hit the nail on the head. Only thing I like to add is just children want to be heard, right? And I think that's one of the main things. They have a voice. We have to listen to them, because for me, my children are my biggest teachers, and sometimes they'll tell me the straight up truth when I'm out of pocket. They put me back right in line, and just just listening to them, giving them a chance to express themselves and how they feel, and just showing them that support. Because at the end of the day, they just want to be seen, they just want to be heard. And if we could support them and guide them in what they're doing, I think they'll be fine. And for those who don't have that situation when they have both parents in the house and it's probably only the mother or only the father, get help. We talk about this community, which community means common unity. We say it takes a village to raise a child, but how we experience this lifestyle here in the West, we don't really feel that sense of community. So for those who don't have that support, find local mentors, boys and girl clubs, church groups, anywhere that they have organizations that could help to facilitate the need. of that sports organizations, anything that you could have that could bring that sense of discipline, a sense of well-being, because it's a whole gamut, spiritually, physically, mentally. Is a whole gamut of things that we need to nurture our children, and that's all I can say. When we do all of that, it just to make sure that we have everything smoothed out with love at the end of the day.
Ashe, thank you. And also, you become the change, the person. You that if you have a need, then you create it, because that's the commonality of this group here. Each one of you took what it is was your need, and you ended up having it as a business or a career, and you did the Ogun thing. So you become the originator of it. You become that person that wants to see the change. You become that change. So if it's just you by yourself, you call your cousin, y'all get together, you start your little program, you take them with the discipline of walking, letting them know you can't keep your computer on from X time. Y'all buddy up. If y'all have to, whatever it is that it's take, if the heat to healthy eating, same thing. Find somewhere that y'all can eat together, cook it. We got to get back to what it is our ancestors. Community is the thing that builds a nation. And so for us as African descended people or people of color, anybody really, it's just about knowing that you are the same person to another person that you are to yourself. So everything that you're doing, somebody out there is doing the same thing, and you can be that support. And if you don't, and you don't have it around you, you look around you and you don't have it in your group, step out of your comfort zone and reach out. Find groups of people that's doing it. This COVID thing has helped us to build a community online. You can go online now. I think they have stuff for Toe Jam Picking group. I'm sure they have this stuff on everything on Zoom that you can find somebody that's doing anything to stream and community. So I think that knowing that, as all of you are speaking, is that we have to talk about the whole package of your health, your wealth, your spiritual connection, and do the things that connect you to spirit. Teach your children the power of prayer. Teach your children how to connect to the ancestors. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to pour libation and show them this is good. It takes it to the next level. But remember, what did Aunt so-and-so do? Like Dr. Maxie said about 3-4 times, Aunt Nina was a spiritualist. She told him, okay, you're going to be the beginning and the end of your people. So we hold you accountable. Let them know that you have dreams for them and support them unconditionally. And lastly, don't judge ourselves so harshly, because sometimes as parents, we screw up. I know I've screwed up. And all I ask is just love me unconditionally. And you know, when I get old, just have some place that you can scrape some food in a bowl for me. But I'm so sorry if I did X, Y, and Z, because we all trying to just make sense of nonsense. We try to get from A to X. And in the middle of that, we can become all kinds of stuff. We doctors, we this, we do mowing lawn, we, go to jail, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, we know that the process from birth to grave is about using everything that we experience to change the world. That's what we expect, is to change the world, everything that we have. And be gentle with ourselves and forgive ourselves. Sometimes we don't do things right, but we're not bad people. Sometimes we don't do, we do bad things, but we're not bad people. Whatever is required in that moment, just for self-preservation, you may do things that step on somebody's bunion, but just be humble enough to come back and say, I'm so sorry. I didn't know that was a bunion. I didn't know that was your foot. I am so sorry. I apologize, and move forward. But to stay, and I'm not going to say it because it's hard and this is a child, I'm not going to apologize. We got to apologize to our children because we're not perfect. They have enough time to watch us, imitate us, and we play ourselves back. And sometimes when we play ourselves back, we don't like that. And we say, oh, the children. No, that's you on some level, because you're the first teacher. You're the first thing they see in the morning and last thing they see at night. So we as people in community, find your support. You become that support. You become the one to empower the people with your behavior. But create. All these men have created from what life gave them. From humble beginnings, they are global, millionaires. They all live in fabulous homes. They have fabulous children. They have fabulous wives, fabulous grandchildren, for those who have grands. And, the amazing work that y'all are doing is so encouraging. Y'all are representations of Ogun. I just want to take a moment of silence just to uphold and just to uplift the people who passed during this COVID, this world global timeout, for us to just acknowledge that we're coming from a lot of pain in terms of we've lost loved ones, we've lost people who are dear to us, and in death, as well as just in changing in the way that we see the world. We've changed. All of us have changed. And I just want to take a moment, if we could just take a small moment just to give thanks and honor and elevation to those ancestors who passed this year during the COVID, and who have, and for us who have the courage to continue to go on, especially those people who are working in the line of support in this pandemic. So let's take a moment here just to give a word of just in our own spirit, just to give a thank you to Olodumare Aduba, giving thanks. I share. I share. I share. We give thanks that the ancestors have heard us. Y'all have done Ogun's work. May each one of you go out here and make the difference. But cha-ching, the dollar signs is Ogun saying you're doing a magnificent job. That's how he rolled. He's like, yes, all is good, but look, we want to see it in the pockets. So may you all, I pray over you that all the work that y'all are doing will manifest the success that you desire. May you continue to be an empowerment, an upliftment, and may your dollars duplicate, quadruple, billions of dollars. I'm raining it down on each one of you, that you get the financial abundance that reflect that you are doing Ogun's work. And Ogun is like, them my boys, let me give them the money that they need to do better and bigger things. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Nika. Thank you, Baba, Dr. Maxie. Thank you, Baba Kwaku, and Dr. for the background. Thank you so much, everybody. And so I will see you again at yeyefini.com. And if you're so moved, you can send a love offering to Yeyefini or Yeyefini by bellsouth.net on PayPal or Cash App Yeyefini if it reaches in your heart that you want to help support the ministry that I do here. Go to my website, yeyefini.com, where you can know the classes and the things that we're doing for the children. We have our children's rites of passage. Just tap into the things that we are doing. Go to all of our websites and find us there. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Odabo, have a blessed evening, everyone. Odabo.